Good afternoon, folks. It's me. It's coming at you from the Red Rock Conservation Area here in Utah, just outside of Hurricane. And I just want to kind of put together a video about how I started this journey and why. I want to kind of talk about my story for those that are interested in seeing how this came about. When I was a kid, I was fortunate enough to grow up on a farm down in Atlanta, Indiana. If you would probably, it's interesting reading, if you would look at the Roberts Settlement area down in Hamilton County, it's a good read. I grew up on that 900 acres that years ago was part of the Underground Railroad, where individuals ended up at that location and started farming and making a living. So I grew up there, and it was on a farm. I helped my grandfather farm years ago until I was about 16 years old. I'm not going to go through this whole thing because it would take me like a year to finish, but basically it boiled down to it's more of an outdoor person. I really enjoyed the outdoors and being out of doors, and my grandfather, he taught me how to hunt and how to fish, and so I carried that on until my early adult years. I loved to camp and fish, and I think I've camped in about every state park in Indiana and some parts of Kentucky, Ohio, up in Michigan. So I've got a lot of experience camping, and that was out of I had a pop-up tent at the time, pop-up camper, and I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun, and it's kind of my opportunity to get away from, especially back when I was working. For you guys that know, I retired from the Indiana State Police after 31 years of service, and kind of couldn't find my way, really. Kind of stumbled around here and there, not just necessarily with any major issues, just the fact that I was retired and out of the game. It just kind of affected me in a way that I'm sure some of you understand. You know, everybody talks about wanting to retire, and when the day comes, it's kind of difficult, and it was difficult for me to do that. It took a long time for me to realize that I didn't have to work all the time, and that part of my identity, I guess you would say, was gone, but there was a need to fill that void. And with the help of my wife Amy and my daughter Caitlin and family members, I started to come out of it. And one day Amy asked me, says, do you have any ideas of what you want to do as a hobby? And I thought, well, the only hobby I can think of was being your husband at the time. And she didn't really think that me spending 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, following her around. So I started thinking about overlanding and camping again, getting back out to nature and getting back out to what I enjoyed doing in the past. And we looked at campers all over, and we looked at teardrops. We looked at something small because the only thing we needed was something to sleep in, so that once we got somewhere we could do the outdoor activities and just have a place to stay. So we ended up with a squareback camper that we got from Escapade Campers, and Jeff and Brianna, this is a shout out to them. This wonderful camper. If anybody's interested in that, please look into that. This great camper, great people. So we got that, we put that together, started using it, and we went to the Smokies with it over in Ohio, southern Indiana, down to Hoosier National Park. We went down there and did some stuff and enjoyed it. We really still enjoy it. And then I started looking into a Jeep, and sorry about that, got some vehicles coming by here. I started looking into a Jeep and thinking, well, you know what, I think I'll go back to my four-wheel days, because I had Jeeps in the past. I had a CJ and I had a Wrangler, so I thought maybe I'd look into that. Then one thing led to another, and I started looking at this overlanding thing, and really kind of fell in love with it initially with the experiences that some of the people I had watched on YouTube, Chris and Four Wheel Adventures, Epic Family the Epic Family on their channel, and others. I can't think of offhand whom I watched, but I watched them all the time. And the overland thing kind of popped out at me, and I started looking into it. And one day I just told Amy that I'm just going to build an overlander. I'm going to get a Jeep, and I'm going to put all the things on it that I needed. And the reason for this is that I hear sometimes in the comments about, oh man, I tell my story about what I wanted to do and about how I wanted to go about this adventure. And I had a lot of people say, boy, I wish I could do that, or that's always been my dream to do that. And I just want to say something to that effect, and I can say this with experience, and I could pass on this to you about me. Just honestly, I talked about the retirement. I had trouble with the retirement. I really did. Had kind of a depressed state at that once that happened, and had to pull out of it. And thank God that Amy and Caitlin helped me with that. And then I got the Jeep, and I went from stock to you name it in a matter of months maybe. And I changed everything and built everything. I will show you this Jeep, but I want to show it to you where I'm out. Probably in the next couple of weeks. Next couple of days. I'll show you this because I want to show it to where I'm out and I can set everything up. But I got the Jeep and I started tinkering around with it and spending time in the garage and building it and thinking about it and putting parts together, and that helped me immensely. That helped me a lot. Kind of like as Amy would say, it was retail therapy. Good for me, not so much for the family budget, but it worked out pretty good. And I kept hearing that, I can't go, or boy, I wish I could do it. And I'll tell you something, that I went on a 500-mile bike ride, probably, it's been a few years ago, me and my brother-in-law. We rode from Lansing, Michigan, all the way up to Detroit in the Upper Peninsula, and it was they call it the Dowmac. It was about 500 miles, and I think we did it in, 5 days, 5 up, I think they call it too. And I rode with him. We had a great time, and I covered 500 miles on my bike, and I did a lot of cycling back then. I ended up with about 8,000 miles on my Trek cycle, and one day I came home after that ride, and the doctor's office called and said, hey, so it was the nurse at the office, and she's in a panic mode, and she's talking real fast and she tells me that I've got diabetes. So I've got type 2 diabetes. So she's rambling on about what I'm supposed to do, and I got to take this, and I got to do this, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And that was kind of a kick in the back side, because I just did 500 miles on a bike. I've got 8,000 miles on a bike cycling. You got to be healthy to do that. And I had no issues before that I could determine. And that really put the downside to it. Brought a lot of negativity to me about how my body can turn on me like that at the peak of the time when I really want to start going out and doing stuff. So I experienced that, and I've had that for probably about 14 years now, maybe. I'm on insulin. I got to take insulin once a night, so that's not any fun. And keep track of my blood and what I eat, and my blood sugar, and what I eat and all that. So yeah, that's a pain. Then I got to building the Overlander, and I right at the point where I'm planning things, I'm wanting to do stuff, I've got things planned out. I was teaching at the time. I was teaching law enforcement for PLE, professional law enforcement training. I want to put a shout out to Byron and Sabrina for giving me that position, because that helped me put a lot of these parts on this Jeep. And one day I had a class that I was going to go teach in West Virginia, and I flew from South Bend to Charlotte. I got on a plane at Charlotte, and before the plane left, before wheels were up, I was nauseated. I had cold sweats, very nauseated, cold sweats. I thought I was going to pass out. Fortunately, I didn't pass out. I made it to West Virginia, got off the plane, and called Amy right off the bat and told her what I had, and she told me I should probably go to the ER or that, but you know me, I'm not going to do that. So I taught the next day. I taught the next day, flew back the following day, got back to Indiana on Friday, and on Saturday I flew out again to Pennsylvania to Fort Indiantown Gap to teach there. Taught there for 7 days, flew back. At that point in time, I had an appointment with my doctor. Amy had set up, and I went to the doctor, and they were going to do a stress test on me and kind of tell me what's going on with this incident, right? So I go and do my stress test. I get on the treadmill. I do my thing. I get back. The next that following, I think it was Thursday. They called and said, "Hey, you need to go in. I think we got to put a cath in. You have some blockages." Okay. So I go in to the specialist who was going to put in the cath, and they did the dye test, and he comes back and he says, tells Amy, says, "You can't do it. I have too many blockages." I had 6 blockages at that time, and that was on Friday. And on Monday, I was in the hospital talking to the cardiac surgeon. And on Tuesday at 7 o'clock in the morning, I was on the table having open heart surgery. I had 6 blockages. He fixed 4, had a quad, basically. My recovery was, to say the least, brutal. If anybody's ever been through that, can relate to what I'm saying. I've never been dependent on anybody really to take care of me, or I never really wanted anybody to take care of me. And it was tough. It was tough going through that. Amy, thank God she was there, and she helped me every step of the way with everything. I mean, I could not do anything, nor could I not do anything, but I didn't want to do anything. And she helped me. Between her and Caitlin, if anybody ever says you need a reason to live, then she was it. And thank God I came through it. And after that, a year from the day of the surgery and all the rehab and everything going through it, and the mental issues and fighting the depression and that, finally I decided to start this trip on the anniversary of the surgery. And on April the 27th is when I took off. A lot of people kept asking me, "Are you going to do it? You still going to do it? You still going to do it?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to do it." Because you never know when those days stop. And at this age, and I'm not saying I'm old, by no means, I'm 64 years old, but 64 years old, diabetic, open heart surgery, quadruple bypass, and I did it, and I'm still going to do it. So when you talk to me about, "Boy, I wish I could do this," or "Man, that would be great to do it," I always just say to you, do it. Just do it. If you have a dream of wanting to see this beautiful country and go out and just live, just forget about all the other stuff. Forget about all the crazy news, the work, the bills, you name it. Just do it. Just take the time to do it and say you did. Because I always said I'd rather do it than not do it and sit around in later life and think about why I didn't. So that's why I took this journey. And everybody has a story. And that's my story in a short nutshell. Just kind of hit on some of the highlights that brought me to today about being on this journey. And through that whole time, all I have to do is think back. And what I have to say is this, and I will say you wholeheartedly and honestly as I can. If you have a dream or you have something that you want to do, that you want to accomplish, step out there and do it. Because like I said, at this age, I'm running out of summers. We're all running out of summers. So if you want something to do, and you have something on your mind and something on your heart that you got to do, go about your business and make it happen. I want to thank Amy and Caitlin and my family, and I could name 1,000 people, the Vineyard Church, people there are just outstanding, and everybody. And this is not a sob, listen to me story. This is a statement coming from my heart about the people that help me and about the people that I'm concerned about, the people that are my friends, that when I hear them say that they love to do something, or for those that have a situation where you can't do something or you want to, but you feel like you're the only person that's there that is going to. You reach out and find people to help you, and they helped me, and I hope that through what I can show to you in these videos and these photos and talk to you, if I can show you that an old man of 64 years old with those health issues can go out and do this, then you can. So I wanted to kind of put that out there, put this story out there for you. I know it's long. I hope that it was relevant to some of you. And like I always said when I taught, if it reaches one person, then I've done what I set out to do. And that was set out to let everybody know that just I am not the only person that can follow their dreams if they want to. So with that, I'm going to call it a day. I probably will head back to the campsite, sit out today and tomorrow. I'm going to just kick back and redo some stuff and restock on some stuff and just kind of take a break. Doing a lot of driving, putting in a lot of hours and stuff behind the wheel and prepping and everything. So I think I'm going to take a break for the next couple of days. And then Monday, I'm going to head to Bryce. Then from Bryce, I'm not sure if I'm going to go to the Grand Canyon. I've seen it once, and I saw it with Amy and Caitlin, my lovely wife and my daughter. And I think I'm going to keep that special. I think I'm going to keep that special, that was our trip, that's something we did together. And I think I'm going to head on up to Bryce and then over into Arches, Moab. I'm going to spend quite a bit of time in Moab. It's, like I said, it's the mecca of overlanding and four-wheel drive off-road vehicles. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll work my way up to Oregon, and from there Washington State. So it's going to be another journeys. It's going to be more videos. I hope you like them. So take care of yourselves. If you have that dream, follow it. Don't live that dream through YouTube like I did for 2 or 3 years. Get out there and get it done. You can do it. All right? Okay, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.